Well, hello my darlings, and welcome back to our channel. I am so glad you are here. Well, I am excited to share with you today, my darlings. I think you guys are really going to enjoy today's craft. And today we are going to be creating a floral and crystal wall panel that is sure to wow your guests. Please stay tuned. For this project, you will need some flowers, any color, any type of your choice. You will need 2 of these 10.5-inch square Boxwood wall mats. I will be using some command hooks to display this on the wall. You will also need 2 packs of princess style acrylic diamond garlands. You will need 4 8x10 picture frames. And you will also need 2 plastic mesh clear canvas cut to size. Of course, you'll need your handy dandy tools. Let's get crafting. So the first thing we're going to do to prepare our frame to receive our Boxwood wall mat is we are going to remove the backing and hold on to it. We are going to need this backing to complete this project, but everything else inside the frame we are going to discard. Now, I would highly recommend holding on to your glass because you just may use it for another project. But once you have gotten rid of all of those pieces, it is now time to place our mesh clear mat inside our frame. Now, I have already cut mine down to size to ensure that the mat is going to be able to fit inside the frame, as you can see. And what we're going to do to adhere that mesh to our frame is we're simply going to go in with our recipe of E6000 glue, and then on top of that a foundation of hot glue. Now, as you can see, I'm going in with pellets, leaving spaces in between, and in those empty spaces, yes, you guessed it, I'm going to be placing my hot glue. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, the reason why we use this combination is the hot glue allows us to continue working. It gives us that right now adhesion, while that E6000 glue will cure over time. And so once we have placed our hot glue on top of our foundation of E6000, we're going to take our mesh, put it right back into place, and as much as possible without burning yourself, my darlings, or without getting your hands too much in that glue, you're going to pat down those edges to make sure that that glue engages with the mat or vice versa. Once you have done that, you're going to take your backing and you are going to place it right back into your picture frame and push your tabs down. This is going to do 2 things. It's going to help this mat stay in place, but it's also going to help the mat stay in place while that glue is drying. So once you have that done, this is what you're going to have once you turn it over. And what we're going to do now is we're going to prepare the top of our mat to hold our boxwood mat. Now, as you can see here, I'm going in with just a few pellets of E6000 just randomly on top of that mat. And then I'm going to follow up with a foundation of hot glue, and I'm going to use much more hot glue than I did the E6000, spreading it far and wide, because what I need to get is that surface area to make sure that that mat will be adhered properly. And once I have placed my hot glue on that mat, I'm simply going to find my placement of my boxwood greenery, making sure to cover up as much as one edge as possible, and then I'm going to apply some pressure and allow it to dry, and then I'll be back to tell you our next step. So now that I am confident that glue has set on that mat, what we're going to do now is place some roses to cover up that edge that boxwood mat did not cover all the way. Now I'm going to be using a combination of that E6000 glue with also a foundation of hot glue to ensure that we will be able to continue working. But as you can see, I'm I should have said, going to be using 4 flowers. Now we're using an 8x10 frame, so I want really and truly to highlight the beauty of that greenery, and I'm not going to use too many flowers, which is going to take away from the beauty of that green. So as you can see, what I'm doing now after I have placed my foundation is simply holding that rose in place to make sure it engages with the glue and it is set. Again, going in with my E6000 just at the base of that rose, and then on top of that going in with my hot glue gun, and then finding a place for that rose to cover up where that mesh is showing, holding it in place for a few seconds and applying some pressure. I'm going to finish placing my 2 other roses off camera, and then we'll be back to move on to the next step. So now that we have finished preparing our 2 panels of greenery and roses, it is now time to prepare our other 2 panels, which are going to house our crystals. And to do this, we are simply going to take everything out of this frame, because all we need is the frame itself, and we're also going to remove those tabs, which I have removed all the rest of mine off camera in the essence of time. Now that we have prepared our frame, it is time for us to lay our crystals. Now, if you can see, these crystals are not the typical round chandelier crystals that you tend to see. This is actually a princess diamond crystal, and I will place the link in the description box below. But the reason why I opted to use this one as opposed to the typical crystal garland is because I needed that short side of that rectangular crystal to sit on that ledge of the frame. I was not too satisfied that the round one would have given me the security that I needed. And so what I'm going to do is place a bullet of E6000 glue down, and then on top of that bullet of E6000 I'm going to place a bullet of hot glue. Once I have done that, I'm going to take my rectangular bead and I'm going to place it in that glue on that ledge and hold it, as you see I'm doing here, for a few seconds while that hot glue dries around it. So again, after having placed a bead of E6000, I'm going in atop that bead of E6000 with a bead of hot glue, holding it in place, applying some pressure, and making sure that hot glue sets around that crystal. Now, I'm going to continue this process off camera. I'm going to be using 11 lengths of those crystals that are 11 crystals long. And I'm going to continue this process off camera, and then I'll be back to tell you what our next step is. So here we have our panel of crystals that we just created and allowed to dry for a few minutes. And as you can see, what I'm showing you here is when I looked at this, I did not like seeing the black that is inside of that frame. And so to cover that and make our project look a little bit more finished, what I did was I used some gold diamond wrap and I glued it down on the inside of that frame, on the bottom and on the 2 sides. I did not place any on top because when you look at the frame straight on, you won't be able to see up underneath those crystals where we planted them. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to glue our panels together. Of course, the choice in doing so is entirely up to you. I am going to place one panel atop the other using our E6000 and hot glue combination. But if you would like and you wanted to make a longer wall panel, you could place your panels side by side and make it 4 long as opposed to 2 wide. The choice, my darlings, is entirely up to you. So once I have placed my E6000, I am now going in with my hot glue, and please forgive me for being out of frame. And once I have placed my foundation of both glues, I am going to, making sure that all of my crystals are out of the way, find my placement, square up those 2 panels, apply some pressure, and hold it in place for a few seconds. When I'm finished off camera, I will do the same thing with the other 2 panels, and then I'll be back to show you how to glue or put all 4 together. Okay, so here are our 4 panels that we just created, and let me just pull them apart so you can see that they're not glued together yet. And now what we're going to do is glue those 2 panels, top and bottom, together, or rather I should say side by side. Now of course, again, my darlings, however you put this together is entirely up to you. I wanted to have my flowers and my crystal garlands kitty corner one from the other. If you want to have your 2 panels of flowers side by side or your 2 panels of garlands side by side, that is entirely up to you. So once I have placed my foundation of E6000, I'm going to follow up with a foundation of that hot glue, making sure to place it intermittently in between the beads of E6000. And once I have placed my foundation of glue, I am going to make sure first that all of my crystal garlands are out of the way, and then I'm going to join, see, that's why 2020 is hindsight. And now before that hot glue dries, I'm going to press those 4 frames together, making sure all of my petals are out of the way, apply some pressure, and hold it in place for a few minutes so that the glue and all 4 of those frames can engage. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to mount it on the wall, and then I'll be back to show you guys what our finished project looks like. Well, here you have it, my darlings, our floral and crystal wall panel that we created using a variety of mediums from a variety of sources. Isn't she lovely? I think I would have to say my favorite aspect of this piece is the fact that it is so versatile. Not only versatile in the fact that it can be dressed up to match any color scheme or any theme of your event, but versatile in the fact of how it can be put together as well as how it can be presented. Now, I can see this as the backdrop to a wedding using more panels. I can see this, as I am sharing it with you, as a focal point on one of the focal walls in your home. I can even see this for stunning elegance as a piece that is suspended in mid-air by chains that are wrapped with ivy vines. Oh, let me tell you, my darlings, if you were to present it that way at your event, I promise you, your guests would be awed. Listen, if you have found any value in this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up as well as leave me a comment in the comment section below. I would like to hear from you, my event planners, my brides, those of you who have events, retirements, birthday parties, any event that you could possibly have coming up. Let me know how you would incorporate this piece into one of your events. I would love to hear from you. To my Danny's darlings, I just want to tell you that I appreciate each and every one of you, and I thank you for your comments, your questions, your love, your encouragement, your feedback. Please know that none of it is wasted. Now, for those of you who are not yet Danny's Darlings, who probably happened upon our channel today, we would like to invite you to kindly consider joining our ever-growing community of DIYers as we learn from and craft with each other on a weekly basis. We would love to have you in our community. And if you so choose to join our community today, as well as you, my darlings, please be sure to select that notification bell so that you are made aware every time one of our videos has been published. And so, before I sign out for today, I'd like to leave you with the motto to our channel, which is simply this: why buy when you can DIY? And so, my darlings, my loves, until the next time, please, please, please take care of yourselves for me. Know that I love you all. Bye now.